I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Yeah, hi guys, Ronnie here from the Truth About Addiction. Today's guest is my good friend Brocky, and I've known Brock since he was a wee young fella, about 17 years of age, and he's got a great story of redemption, a great story of recovery, and a great story of being a good human being, you know. So, hi Brocky, how you doing, brother?
Uncle Ronnie, pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, mate, I'm excited. I really am. You know, like you're like the son that I never had to have sex with to have, you know.
Yet, they say
Yeah.
with this disease of addiction, you're eligible too. Yet.
Yeah. Mate, you you have a beautiful story, mate. You just want to fill us in, like age, what stage you started using, your family background. Just go for it, mate.
Yeah, cool. I just wanted to say too before we began, it's just been so nice listening to your podcast as they come out, and I'm just I'm actually quite moved and inspired. You know how much I love you, and having the opportunity to be here is really special. So and I was thinking about the truth about addiction. And I've been thinking about that, and talking about the truth. And there's lots of misconceptions around addiction and what you're doing, just carrying the message and telling people what it's like and that, it's special. So I've, like you said, I've known you for a while. I met you when I was 17, and I was a kid in prison. I was in Boys Yard at the time, and that's where our paths first crossed. And I was there because I was an addict, and I used. And when you talk about addiction and that's what I've come to learn is it's just about that obsession and compulsion and the inability to not stop. I couldn't stop. So it's funny when you think of where to start, and I guess just starting there is probably the main point, because that's where our paths crossed. And I was a 17-year-old kid, and I'd found myself spending the previous few years in juvie, and I just found that sort of that belonging that I was longing for. That I always felt different, seeking connection, and I thought I'd found that in a little tribe of knockabouts. We're just all kids, and we drinking and drugging and getting into mischief, breaking into houses and stealing cars. And that I always had this thought too. When I was a kid, I thought, I'll stop one day. When I'm an adult, I always had this. I'm just having fun. I'm just having a party. Leave me alone and everything. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't just. I didn't end up just stopping and progressed. We talk about that progression, and I just thought I had to do more to get more drugs to stop feeling the way that I felt, which was just that feeling of desperation and so I ended up in jail at a young age of 17, and it didn't stop there for me either. They say prisons are there for rehabilitation, and that I had none of that. I just met. It was quite a significant time for me, because as a vulnerable young man and having no role models growing up, you look up to other people in that system, and the role modeling there is just they've got it so backwards, it's so backwards. And I always I wanted to share a story. I don't know if you remember it or not. I remember I would have been 18, and I was in the yard, and I was throwing the basketball at this dude that was just laying up the back of the corner, minding his own business. And I was tormenting him. I was looking for a bite, just got probably bored, or looking to change the way I felt. Drugs was only one way to change the way we felt in that sort of system. Sometimes you pick a fight with someone just to be entertained, or change the way I feel. And a lot of the people that I looked up to, they would encourage that, because they had it all backwards themselves. But you were in that yard, and you came up to me and you said, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Leave him alone." And I was like, it stayed with me, because no one else would do that. And you've got a really unique story, because you got through that system, but you had your principles.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it at the time, but it stayed with me that moment, and that was that attraction. And that's when I actually respected you more, because I respected you because you stood out. You weren't a follower. Like all them other older crims and that, they'd G you up to fight. They'd be into people all from bullshit. It was all bullshit. None of it was real or founded in truth. So, I just don't know. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you too, because that was the moment when I looked at you and I just thought, fuck, because no one pulled. I was like, I was pulled up, but I was pulled up respectfully.
I do remember it actually. Yep.
And that
Those
was
yards were terrible.
so that was 2005, and I was 18 by then, and our paths crossed on and off through that time. I was young, I just got given a 3-year sentence, and I did every day of it because I didn't get parole because there was no programs that spoke about change of behaviour or learning about the way I think or I felt. So I'll just fast forward to 2009, when we're at Barallan. And what a God job, By that stage, I'd already done 5 years in prison, and as a 23-year-old kid, and I wasn't getting any better. And thank God our paths crossed, because that was a massive turning point for me in about learning about this thing that we're talking about today, addiction and the disease. It was when it all changed for me.
Yeah, right. We were very blessed to have that program we had. For the viewers that don't know, in Barallan Correctional Centre in 2009, the general manager there was a guy named Guy Buff, and he was from a private company called Serco, and he believed in rehabilitation. His attitude was they come in from drug addictions and drug problems. They use while they're in prison because we don't teach them anything, and then we keep them in prison because they're drug addicts. Then we release them at full time as drug addicts, and they commit more crimes, and we're surprised. He was a visionary guy, Buff. He really was, and he allowed us to start the unit in C12, and we had, I had Scotty over here today, who I also met in prison, and he's 14 years clean, and a lot of good stuff came out of adversity, and something that was supposed to have been a bad thing turned out to be a good thing for a lot of other people, like my going back to prison. His term was controversial, and it's, it is what it is. And but at least while I was there, I made lemonade out of lemons, So, that's the beauty of my life, that I've been given a chance to make the best out of bad situations. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met a lot of people. Some of the closest people in my life are through that time I spent in prison, because my real friends all dropped off while I was in prison. My real good mates for 20 and 30 years all fell away, all because of their own selfishness and greed and their lack of principles. And my new friends became my true friends. So it's not a one-way street. Our friendships are two-way street. And you know that with me. And so in 2009, you were doing the program in there with us.
Yeah.
At Barallan. When did you get released?
Yeah, so that's why that program was so powerful, because prior to any of that, I'd never had any chance of parole or anything like that. And basically, by going into that program at C12, the thing about it was there was a group of, I think it was 30, it was a 30-man unit. So at that time, there was 30 of us in this unit. And out of those 30 men, there's yourself and a couple other names come to mind that were I'd seen them through the prison system. They were just addicts and violent, put in the category of never possibly been able to change. A lot of them were doing life lagons. But there was this group of us, and we'd all actually stopped using. And it's fucking powerful, because out of those 30 men, we were learning about the disease. We had each other's backs. There was the odd sort of like, and they would pull him up. We don't want that here. If you want to use, that's your business. Get out of the unit, go use somewhere else.
Yep.
But there was us group there that were just like, and to me that'll stay with me forever, because it shows me the power of this program.
Yeah.
I think of the likes of Stewie D and them that they were thriving. I saw like light in their eyes. It was incredible. And I'd been in that, other times with him in the prison where I'd seen him like jumping on someone's head with blood squirting out of the ears. So just to see the transformation. Like, so that's why I say to everyone, I love it too. Like, it's an inside job. It just happens from the inside. And I remember sitting in that cell.
It's really funny you should be talking about that. Remember that?
Yeah,
Yes, I had that out today,
yeah.
It is an inside job, yeah.
And I had that moment with you where I was sitting in a cell writing out about doing some writing, and I had this moment where I just felt peace and joy and happiness, and I had nothing material. I
Yeah.
was sitting actually in a prison cell with no freedom, but go figure, I felt the most freest I've ever felt because I thought there's a chance for me when I get out now. I thought, geez, you know what? I can make a goal. There is. It's not my destiny because I'd always just thought this is it. This is who I am. This is all I've got going on, and that hope. That's probably the word.
It is.
Hope was born, and
Yeah.
like I was saying, because my behaviour changed. I was not getting into fights, no longer swearing at screws out the side of my mouth, with all this bravado and stuff that I thought I had to be a man as well. Because there's a lot of other stuff happening in that tender age of 18 to 22 when you form an identity in that. And so all that stuff started shifting, and, I got a crack at parole and I went to a rehab, and, I didn't get it straight away. It wasn't the most supportive joint, but the seed had been planted. And then
Yep.
when I started using again, it was just so painful, like spiritually. And, I was just I was in and out of jail again for a little bit. But in come 2011, I got out, and I was just like, I just had this moment where I just knew I had to do something. I knew where to go. Like I had faith that if I just did the basic little things right, and you were still in jail at the time. I think
Yep.
you got out when I was probably
212.
about a year clean. So, but for that year, I just did. I did exactly what you told me to do from in there, and it worked.
Yeah.
I slowly just started. For me, it was a victory just being able to pay rent for the first time. I'd never done that. Make a doctor's appointment. And I rode around on a push bike for the first 18 months, so I couldn't get a license, and it was just really what I needed. I didn't need it to be really fast and that. Like, it was just, it's such a good job. I'm just so grateful because for someone like me that could not stay out of jail, disease runs in my family. It's a family disease. My mum is an addict, and it's like being born around it and having it. I had zero chance. They just stamped me. Stamped me as someone that'll just be in and out of prison, and it's not like that today. It's very very different. I'm very blessed.
Talking about today, Brocky. These days you're working in far north Queensland. Before that, you were working in Darwin, up in Northern Territory. You've been working in helping people for a long time now. That's what you've sort of taken on as a career now.
Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. I remember when I first started getting my life back on track, and one thing that made sense to me early on was, and it's a value that I have today. It says it's around service. I can only keep what I have unless I give it away, and I was very lucky. I went back to TAFE and did a bit of study, and then I found out that I wasn't that story that I was always telling myself. I wasn't useless or hopeless and that. And I went to university, and I found like a career path that suited me. And over the last few years, I've been working in remote Aboriginal communities. I'm an Aboriginal man, and I was disconnected from my culture as a young person as well through the disease of addiction again. And I've been able to rewrite my story. I've been able to just take the experience of what the mistakes that I made early on in life, and transform them into like you said at the start, making lemonade out of lemons. It's my greatest gift today when I'm sitting down working with someone. At the moment, I'm doing counselling work in a remote community and combating people that suffer from alcoholism at a really high rate, and also the impacts of trauma and colonisation and the missionaries from the old days. And I can just connect with someone on a deep level. Like, I take that from my own experience, but also the skills and tools that I've learned from from that extra stuff that I've done. So I pinch myself every day. I just sit here and think, how did I end up here? Like, how did I end up doing what I'm doing what I love, being around beautiful people, like just deeply connected, and And it's all because of, that decision and that hope that was born, sitting in that cell, over 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It is pretty incredible what happens when you change your thinking and your reactions and your actions, and start putting a program into your life. It can be a simple program. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. Simple. Like as long as I don't pick up, I can't get stoned. It's really that simple. It's the first one that kills you. I was talking to David Abita today, and I said to him, when you get hit by a train, what kills you, the first carriage or the last? And he went, he just seen his eyes. He goes, I've never heard that before. We say that a lot. And he goes, can I use that? I said, of course you can. It's the first drug or drink or pill that we take that creates the damage, because we start a compulsion that we haven't got the power to stop. That's why we need a power greater than ourselves. We all have to find a spiritual path and a spiritual advisor. We have to. I've had the same spiritual advisor for 36 and a half years, as you know. And if he tells me to jump, I jump. If he tells me to hop on one leg, I'll hop on one leg, because it's because of his direction and protection over the last 36 and a half years that I've been able to stay drug-free one day at a time. It's not rocket science. The only thing I do is I'm humble enough to take advice. I guess that's my greatest asset, is my humility today, to not to think that I'm in control of what's going on in my life. I have a loving higher power, as he expresses himself, and I know you do too. I know you're a spiritual human being. And I think that's what we lacked when we were out there in jails and in institutions and in active addiction. We lacked any sort of spirituality, and we lacked any belief and any hope. I was a no-hoper. The judge told me I was a no-hoper. Corrective Services told me I was a no-hoper. My father told me I was a no-hoper. And I agreed. I believed I was a no-hoper, as I used to believe what my brain told me. My brain doesn't tell me that stuff anymore, because I've reprogrammed my thinking not to allow my brain to lie to me. Because that's what it was doing. It was lying to me for many years. Because, we weren't born with horns and nasty people. We were born human beings, and it took years of practice to get the horns and the nastiness. It took lots of practice. And, the reality is, anyone who thinks that, drug addiction's a walk in the park, or we do it because, any other reason. No, we do it because we have a problem. We have a deficiency somewhere, and I don't want to get into the philosophical bullshit, as Mr. Phil, as a friend of ours used to say. It's not relevant of what we had; it's what we do about it. It's not relevant how I got my affliction, my disease, my problem. What's important is, what am I going to do about it today?
Yeah.
And I only have a daily reprieve. I believe that. A lot of spiritual places talk about being in the moment, meditation, yoga. It's all about the moment, about breath and being in the moment. Right here, right now, everything's okay. And it's the truth, and that's why I love the truth. That's why I wrote that book.
The truth. It doesn't change.
And you don't have to have a good memory if you tell the truth. My last trial, I was hopeless in the box trying to bullshit. I was hopeless. Like, those days are gone. I'm not that person anymore. I can't just.
I love what you said too, Ron, and it's a reason that I've is the simplicity of it, and that's why I love any advice you give me. It's very practical. It's sometimes it sounds too simple, because my mind can complicate. Like, I'm thinking I've got to do this, this, and this. He'll just say, read this, and I'll read it, and I'll guarantee you, the second after I've read it, I feel different.
Yeah.
And not only different, 9 times out of 10, I feel better. And it's so simple, and that's what I love. Like this, I was listening to a conversation you had with someone the other day, and the advice that your spiritual advisor gave you: call me back after you've had something to eat, have a shower. Sometimes as an addict or as a human being too, it's not just it's not just an addict. Emotions can become overwhelming. What do we do for so many years when emotions become overwhelming? Have another one, numb it out, and just learning those really basic. And I believe what we've got is so special. It should be being taught to everybody.
I agree.
Like the program that we've got, or the way that we live, and these spiritual concepts which are shared all around in most spiritual concepts like you shared is about being present, grateful, And one thing that I wanted to say too is a lot of, and you mentioned it too, like being truthful and honest. You don't have to remember the lies and that. The core of my disease is fear. I'm always so afraid of not having enough, having too much, missing out, not being good enough. Like all that stuff it's an underlying sense that my mind can get hold of and run with. So having a bit of faith today, like you said, in this moment, since I've been clean, I have never gone without food. I've never had to sleep in a park. I've never, none of when I was using that happened a lot. And I'll create more of it through my actions. But in this moment, just for today, I've got more than I need. And you've taught me a lot around that. People see you too, and you're successful because the luckier you are, the harder you work. And you work
exactly
hard at what you've got. And people see that, but they don't see underneath that it means jack shit to you.
Yeah.
It's and I know that. I know that for you. You've got fucking so much in your life because you've worked hard and you've got these principles. But underneath it all, like I see the phone calls you make to the newcomer. You've reached out to me. All that stuff. People don't see that. They don't see that. They think, oh, how did you get to here? It's because you give, and the more we give, the more we receive.
Yeah, I haven't told you. I've been looking after a guy for the last 3 days. It's been hectic. He's been coming off heroin. He's been using it for 20 years. And I know his family, and they asked me if I'd help him. And I go, yeah, cool. I always say yes. I go, yeah, of course I'll help him. So anyway, 2 days ago when I first spoke to him, he was like, 3 days ago, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. He's going to cold turkey at home with his brother looking after him. His brother's a friend of mine and yours. I won't say who it is. But and I said to him, go to the doctor, get some stuff to stop you from vomiting, get some Valium, get some Panadeine for it. I'm going to take the edge off it for him and try to make it as easy as possible. So anyway, first 48 hours, I spoke to him at 48 hours and he was sick. And that vomiting, the crocodile legs, fucking. And mate, you know what? It's been 36 and a half years since I used, but when I was listening to him, they had me on speaker, and then he's vomiting green bile into the toilet. Oh, fucking Ron, no. And it just brought back so much. And then 6:30 this morning, the phone rang. His brother was on the phone and said he wants to get on. I said, put him on, and I'm talking to him. I said, mate, you're nearly there. 60 hours he's done. I said, you're nearly there. Give me another 12 hours. You'll be through the physical part of the withdrawals. And I said, go and have a hot bath, take 2 Valium, and go and have a rest. Just chillax for the rest of the day. To cut a long story short, an hour later, I had a bad feeling. I rang back his brother and I said, oh, mate, what's going on? He said, yeah, he's gone. I said, what? He said, yeah, he's gone and got on. So he let the fear and the obsession compulsion take control of him.
Yeah.
And I felt really sad and I felt really sick, and I thought, I can imagine when he had the shot, he would have felt relief.
Yep.
15 minutes later, he would have felt remorse.
Yep.
And felt like he'd failed again.
Yeah.
And his brother said to me, he's a weak cunt. And I said, no, he's not. Stop. I said, he's sick.
Yeah.
I said, you don't understand. You're not an addict. His brother's not an addict. I said, you don't understand. He's suffering with a disease. I said, and you got what you call a compulsion. I said, and he's not strong enough to fight the compulsion. He said, he's not a bad person. He's a sick person. I said, you need to be more gentle.
Yeah.
I said, but next time we know that he wants you to help him, you can't help him. He's got to go to detox. Because I want him to go to detox first.
Yeah, detox.
His brother's like, no, I'll do it. And anyway.
Yep.
So the moral of the story was 36 and a half years ago, I was feeling like he was this morning. And in a heartbeat, I was back there. I actually felt physically sick. I was emotionally really sad. My wife looked at me because, 6:30 in the morning, people don't ring us. And my wife looked at me and she said, you all right? I said, not really. I said, I'm just sad. I just feel sad.
Yeah.
I said, because I know where he's going back to. I said, there's nothing good going to come out of this. And I just hope that he gets back, but not everyone gets clean the first time. I didn't.
And that's the thing too, Ron, that we need to realise this disease is so powerful that, through, I can only imagine the thousands of faces that you've seen that have come and had a crack at this, and not everyone gets clean the first time, and and we're so lucky. That's why I'm so vigilant and complacent and following your footsteps, because I know one bad compulsion or an obsession that I could have today. And that's I could go straight back to that, and I don't want to lose what I've got today. I've just got so much in my life. Before I got clean, I had nothing. I had nothing. I can sit here and say that I had nothing, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I had nothing.
Yeah.
And today, just that. And I always think about it when I'm sitting around and I'm watching people, and I just really hope, in a year's time or 2 years, because I know that it gets better, and I just know that it opens up. It opens up so much possibility and hope, and it's like you say, it's we stay clean and we carry this message that there is a way out. Our job is to plant seeds, and hearing you speak to that dude, for the last couple of days and that, and when his brother said, "Oh, he's weak," I was like, we need to show compassion, because I know I don't trust myself when I'm using. When I hear someone start saying what someone's been doing when they're using, I said, fuck, you wouldn't want to be around me when I'm, because I know where I go to. So, that's why I think that therapeutic value of someone that's been through that and come out the other side is in comparison to nothing.
It's true.
So much
it's
love
true.
and healing in that.
Yeah. Just I believe we're blessed. I believe with recovery comes a great responsibility. I believe it's a gift, but I believe it's an incredible responsibility to always be there for someone else. My wife's not an addict, but she's been with me for 10 years, and she knows if the phone rings, I'm going to answer it.
Yeah.
No matter what time of the day or night it is, that's my responsibility. It's a very small payment for the gifts I've been given. For the gifts I've been given, money can't put it on. I was talking to someone today, and they were talking about money, and I said to him, mate, you don't understand. Time is more valuable than money. I said, because I can't make more time. I said, I've always made money. I can't make more time. I said, so if I give you $100, that's nothing. If I give you 5 minutes, that's a great deal. I said, so what you've got to understand is the gift of giving is your time, not financial. Anyone can donate money and all that sort of shit. But give somebody your time, sit down and listen to them when really you don't want to listen to them. Because really you want to be somewhere else. You want to be with your kids. Because for every time I say yes to somebody, I'm saying no to somebody else.
Yep.
For every time I say yes, I'll spend an hour with you, I don't spend an hour with my kids.
Yeah.
Or I don't spend an hour with my wife. And that's why I say to people, if you don't want to get clean, that's your business. Don't waste my time. Because there's someone out there that really needs my time.
And that's something that I've loved and respected about you dearly is you call a spade, Ron, and you always have, because you know that, if someone's not serious or, they're just at that point. I say it too, like, fuck, there's hundreds of people that are there that could be hear what we've got to say, or I think about it all the time, like through part of what we do, spending time with another person to understand the disease and that, like doing that. There's no there's no thought for me. Like it's not like, oh, do I do it or not? As soon as that opportunity arises, it's like, yes, it comes with a priority. Like I don't even. It's not. It's like it's. Yeah. I guess it's that saying of my will of finally slowly lining up my high powers will, and it is for me to be there and share my experience, strength, and hope to help that person in whatever they're going through. It's and that's a gift. That's a gift to be able to do that. I've never had that in my life. I was incapable.
I tell you what's really funny. You tell me if you get the same thing. Sometimes I say yes, right, because that's my normal reaction. I go, yeah, I'll do that. And then my disease goes like, oh, there's nothing in it for you. And I've got to say, oh, fucking piss off. Piss off. But my first is, all right, mate, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe disease goes, oh, you wanted to go shooting tomorrow?
Yeah, or fishing. For me, it's
Yeah, I
always
want to go fishing tomorrow.
the weekends, or I couldn't. That's the disease, and that's why there's no cure for this. That's why we've got to do this. We've got to stay engaged and challenge. Like my thoughts can still go. I'll ring you up with stuff, and you just be like.
Yeah, I spoke to Mario the other week about something I thought was 100% right, and he's like, mate, you're fucking nowhere. 36 and a half years clean. And I was sure I was right. And when I told him, he just started laughing. He said, are you serious? He said, mate, you're fucking way off left field. And then, he told me. As soon as he told me, I was like, and I go and make amends to my wife. Sorry. I was wrong. You were right again. Again. Yeah. No, I'm so blessed, mate. I'm so blessed to have family, and you are part of my family. You know that, and mate, 2002 when I met you, I think it was when you were 17. Or was that 2002? Yeah, 2002, 2003, I think, something like that, in the boys' yard.
Yep.
It's fucking 18 years later. We hang out together, our family, We're blessed. We are so blessed. And I believe, I was talking to someone today about it. I believe our higher power let us get clean, helped us get clean, encouraged us to get clean, because he's got a bigger picture plan for us. He's got good shit for us. Mate, the stuff you're doing is unbelievable. You really downplayed it a lot. You spent years now in Aboriginal communities away from all your friends and family for months and months and months at a time. When you're on the island, that was incredible. Yeah. The work you did on the island with the women there was out of control. I don't know anyone else who could have done it. I really don't. Honestly.
And I'm also grateful that you got to come up and see that too, and see that side, because it's like I said to you, people see the outside, but they don't see the behind the scenes stuff of how we are with, and then, I love it there. I love the people that I get to be a part of their lives. And, I say it all the time while I was up there, it was a mutual exchange of, I was getting as much from them as I was giving them as well through that, giving again, like just how, in whatever position it was, through that. I got my heart was filled, and I've still got beautiful connections with them. And you do too. They always ask about us and how beautiful we can go somewhere and leave someone feeling better and uplifted. As the opposite, I always say I've got this disease. I have the capacity to shed blood or spread love, and it's up to me. It's my responsibility, because I'll always be one. And so it's like, okay, who do I want to be? What's a legacy? It is. It is. We are. I just get emotional even thinking about it. And I could never do that too. I feel it, feel the joy and the gratitude here around what this meeting you. And I didn't say it too. My mum always says it too. I was the sort of person that wouldn't just get out and just, I'm going to, So it's our higher power is so instrumental and had so much in that. Like I couldn't write it myself. What I've been able to do from that kid that was in jail and turn it around and be doing what I'm doing now. Like I got to, my brother, 12-stepping him was fucking one of the greatest things I got to do. And, being there for my niece when she was born, and just this, I've got, I think, like 5 godchildren. It's, I get, look, I spend time, and it's so. And I had something on the weekend, and I was talking to someone. I said, I can't even attempt to put words to how beautiful and unbelievable what I've been given. Like it just doesn't do it any justice. But we know because we get to live it.
Yeah. Yep, and we do live it, and that's excuse me, mate. That's why I say we're human beings, not human taken. Because before we were human takers, now we're human being. I love life. I like people. I don't. We can't change the world, but we can change ourselves. And in changing ourselves, we may just be able to touch one person and help them change. And that person touches one person, helps that person change. We will change the world, because the world has to change.
Yeah.
Because the direction it's heading is not great, I don't believe. I'm 67 years of age, and I've seen a lot in 67 years. I've seen from when we had a phone that used to wind the handle and talk to the lady down the operator, to a dial phone, to a phone on the street to a big brick mobile when I first got clean, $7,000 for this big fucking phone. You had to have someone to carry it for you. So now you have a phone and a watch, Maxwell Smart. So that's the stuff I've seen in my short period of life. And, society really needs to have another look. I was talking to someone today again. When I was a kid, you could play outside till the lights came on. Then you had to come home. Today I won't let my kids out the front.
Yeah.
Something's gone wrong in our society badly.
Yeah.
And drugs have had a lot to do with it. But also the sickness of internet and, pornography and the violence in movies and all this stuff that we like and that we entertain ourselves with, has got a lot to answer for. And that's why I started this podcast, because I've realised if this is used wisely and used for good, we can reach a lot more people.
Yeah.
And that's my motivation behind this. I think, my motivation is just to carry the message that, you can stop using.
Yeah. You
don't have to live a life of degradation and dereliction. I'm not talking about spiritual and emotional, not physical. Physical is nothing. I can go and rob someone tomorrow and I've got money. I've always been able to get drugs. I've always been able to get money. People think drug addicts have got no money. Well, how do we get score every day? We always manage to get, a couple hundred a day. And that was back in the days when a couple hundred was a lot of money. People were getting a couple hundred a week for wages, and I was making, a lot of money. But it was always going straight up my arm and straight to the dealer. Today, I can get by without very much money. It's really funny. Today I don't need a lot of money because I don't waste it. Today I don't need a lot of anything. I've already got.
And that's like addicts, when we're using, we're extremely resourceful. We will go to great lengths, go to any means necessary. And then when I get someone that's new and I'm talking to them and get to know them and that and explaining what I did, I said I took that energy of what I did every day, and it was fucking hard work. And I don't forget it. But now, like, when we put that energy into, doing a bit of reading or a bit of writing or, and put that energy into that can create that positivity. And I've seen it. I watch people as they progress. We're so blessed. We get to watch people grow and change and, from the outside or up close. And I've seen it happen to so many people, and they put that energy into creating a new life of, limitless possibilities. And we've got a very, I believe this is, we've got this innate drive, something in us. I'm the same. When I first started learning about this, I realised I've got a very obsessive nature. So I started steering it towards things that were healthy, the gym.
Yep.
And then I started putting it into things like reading. If I pick up a book, I'll obsessively read it. So I started picking up books that were speaking about spirituality and, and I started becoming obsessive with meditation. So I could channel that obsessive nature. Fishing, if I'm not doing this stuff or working, I'm out there wetting the line, So it's not a problem yet. Beck might disagree.
It's a problem for me with lures every time I come up there. Nah. I've never done an armed robbery for a fish. Give us all your motherfucking fish, man.
Yeah, and that's what it is. That's what really help people. Some people they use and they drink sociably. Then there's that point. Explain to people. We can't tell you if you're an addict or not. It's like, what's unmanageability mean? And the big one that I focus on is the emotional unmanageability. I had absolutely nothing externally. Well, I wasn't doing too well either. But just that internal, that depression, that desperation, that loneliness. I felt alone. I was and I was just numbing the pain. And I loved what you did a podcast recently. Someone talked about dope being a remover of fear. And, oh, man, I just sat there and I thought, yes. So I was always in a fear-driven state. And it's like, today I'll counter that with faith. I just know, today everything's going to be all right if I don't pick up a drink or drug. And the evidence is in my life for that. There's nothing that's so, and I've had some tough times. I've been clean, 10 years and, been to funerals and last year was a pretty scary year for me. I come close to not working a program, being distant and, but at the end of the day, nothing that it will improve if I have a drink or drug. I just know that's in my heart. It's like that. It's an inner knowing now. It's not. At the beginning, it was mental. Like I was just getting drummed in, but now it sits right here in my heart. I know that nothing will I know what's on the other side of that, and that's a nice place for me to be because I know that I can do anything for a day. Whatever challenge, and I've learned there's no mistakes in recovery. There's no mistakes. The only mistake is picking up. Everything else is a learning. I've learned so much from my mistakes. There's no mistakes. The only mistake you make is pick up. Yep. And even then, if you do, get your ass back to wherever you need to go. Get hold of your loved ones. Get hold of your support network.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. I count my blessings every day. I know I'm one drink away from being a fucking drunk, and I know I'm one drug away from being a using addict. And, I choose not to on a daily basis to let my mind be in control of my heart. Mm-hmm. My heart controls my mind, not the other way around. A lot of brilliant people say that, the greatest thing that's killing man is that man's mind's turning on himself. And it is because of the outside influences. We have so much crap going on outside of ourselves and stuff that we're powerless over. Like I say to people all the time, like, you're worrying about a job in a month's time. What a waste of time. You got the job interview in a month's time and you're worrying about it now. God, that's not sanity. But that's normal people. That's not just drug addicts. That's normal people. Oh, I'm trying to get a loan. I'm really worried. Mate, wait till they give you the answer. Worry won't fix nothing, but a diseased mind really likes worry because it will give you excuses to act out in other areas and other defects. And as you know, I talk about defects of character. It's a Pandora's box. You can't just bring out worry without insecurity, fear, crime, dishonesty, all the other defects of character coming out. You just can't open up and go, I'm going to have lust today. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but it doesn't, because if I get lustful, I get fearful, I get, I get paranoid, I get secretive, and my disease loves secrets. Oh, yeah. Give me a secret and let me play with your brain. Oh, your phone just rang. Don't let anyone answer that. Oh, there's a text. Don't touch anyone that. Like all that stuff that just plays on our insecurities, which reassures us that we're not worthy. And, I always say, a grateful addict won't use drugs. And I also believe a person with self-worth won't self-mutilate because I believe drug addiction is a form of self-mutilation. Whether it be alcohol or whether it be chemicals or whatever you choose to put in your body, I believe it's a form of self-mutilation because you're destroying your family, your friends, your spirituality, just everything, your sexuality, everything just goes down the drain as soon as you start putting a chemical in your body. The question I ask is, can you put a chemical in your body and guarantee your behaviour? They go, what? So can you stop at one? Oh, I've never wanted to. Why? What are you trying to block out? Why do you have to put something chemical in your body to numb yourself? What's so painful about your life that needs to be numbed? That's what we need to deal with. If you take the drugs out, you've still got the same problem.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't stay clean because they don't deal with the core.
And that's what you've always drummed into me. It's not the drugs, it's the thinking.
It's our thinking.
It's here. That mind that will create scenarios, like you mentioned, worries and that, and fear, and I'll do other people's thinking for them. I think I know what's going on. Like, if I don't have a defense mechanism against that, which is handing it over, talking to another person, getting it in, that will just it'll run rings around me.
And 9 times out of 10, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
9 times out of 10, your thinking is wrong. What you're thinking, they're thinking is wrong.
Yeah, you never.
It's like when people relapse, and they ring you up and they go, "Oh, mate, I feel bad." I'm just glad they're back.
Yeah,
I'm not judging them.
There's no judgment. That's what my heart is completely open to anyone that sits. And I say it all the time. I don't like everyone, the place we go, but I respect them, and I respect the effort. And I see the background of what it takes to sit there and have a red hot crack. And I'll help anyone. I've seen it. Higher Player is funny. He gives us these scenarios. I think I was with you one day, and there's this person, and that really offended me and was quite disrespectful. And I had this sort of feeling of ill will towards them, but I'd let it go. But then when I saw them and they asked for help, instantly I was just like, oh, they're back. And I put my hand out, and it's like something takes over me. It's the only place, you know. It's like if it was my choice and I'll get myself into all sorts. I learnt that before I met you. Look where I ended up. I was sitting in prison with absolutely nothing. So I'm under no illusion to if I think I've got this under control, I can run the race and that. And why would I want to do that? Like look at my life I've had now when I've just gotten out of the way and learnt the principles of surrender and faith, and you know, it's why would I want any
spiritual awakening? I believe it's a spiritual awakening we're given, and the spirit is love and compassion. You know, my higher power loves me, understands me, forgives me. Love, understanding, and compassion. Compassion is forgiveness. All the things I always wanted, you know, man. But, mate, look, you know, I love you dearly. Thank you very much for coming on The Truth of Addiction. And the truth is that you can leave this podcast and never use again.
Yeah, it's been absolutely.
That's the reality, isn't it, you know?
Yeah, it's.
And I hope that just, you know, one listener can hear this. And if you like this, please subscribe and follow. We do this because we want people to get the message. We don't do it for any other reason. Our motivation is to carry a message of hope, trust and faith, and, you know, have faith in yourselves that, you know, one day at a time you do recover. Thanks, Brocky.
Thanks, Uncle Ronnie. Lots of love.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.